Welcome back, everybody. Freak Parade here. Thanks for tuning in and checking this out here. Here's my tutorial video for Bit Heroes. So, you're brand new to Bit Heroes. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you've been playing for a little while and you're just looking for some more tips and tricks. Regardless, we're going to look at everything and make sure that we're all playing on our A game. As I mentioned in my past videos, I try to be as free to play as possible. Last week with the anniversary, I did drop, I think, $20 to take advantage of some of the deals. But, you know, that was last week. Going forward, we're just going to play the game how I have been, which is as efficiently and as free to play as possible. So, when you're making your account, first off, although by the time you're watching this might be a little bit too late. You want to make sure you make your account on Kongregate first and then link to the mobile app with the K at the bottom right. That seems to be the easiest, most smooth way. I've seen a lot of people who will make an account on the mobile app first and then try to link it to the Kongregate, and it just doesn't work out as well. You know, I've heard stories of people getting their information erased. I haven't ever tried to do it that way, so I don't know what's going on there. But, you know, even if it is a little bit too late and you're having trouble connecting, go ahead and do that. Make a new account on Kongregate and then link it to your mobile, and you're going to have the best success in playing both on PC and on mobile. Okay, first things first, before I get into anything specific, I just want to give some general tips and tricks. First off, up here is gold. That's the in-game currency that everybody gets. You just get a ton of it after every fight. You got your energy up here. It's real time. You know, it's one of those games where you spend energy to do everything. Grinding away. That's how you play your quests, your dungeons. It's how you play your world boss. Up here you got your tickets for PvP. You get one every 45 minutes. And that's the same with your trials/gauntlet badges. And when you have an invasion going, you get those too. And your GVG tokens up here. Guild versus guild. We'll get into all that momentarily. Up here, you got your premium currency. You got your gems. Now, these are the most important part of this game in a lot of ways. This is your premium in-game currency. This is what can cost money. Oh, sorry about that. This is what can cost money. But you know what? I've played a lot of games with premium currency, and Bit Heroes honestly is very generous with theirs. One tip, or a couple tips with the gems. First off, treat 1600. Once you've played for a little while, treat 1600 gems like 0. So right now I have 1710 gems. What I'm looking at there is really, I have 110 gems. And this is because when you're dungeoning, or dungeoning or raiding, you can go ahead and feel free to bribe any legendary offer you have, and you don't have to feel bad about it. You don't have to feel like, oh darn, I don't have enough gems, should I spend money? The answer is almost always yes if you have it. But this way, treating 1600 gems like 0 means that you will always be able to accept every legendary familiar offer, and that is prime, guys. That's basically what this game's all about. You're going to have a better PvP experience with legendary familiars. You're going to be able to go farther in trials, all kinds of things like that. That's going to help you rank up. It's going to help you do well. So another thing about gems is that if you play on mobile, you can get a lot more gems. You can look at free offers, and sometimes you can play a game. Like there's this Final Fantasy game you can play right now that if you get to level 10, it'll give you something like 1800 gems, something like that. And that's a lot. That's like $18 worth of gems roughly. Don't take my exact word for that, but still it's a lot of money just for playing another game for a little while. So if you're looking and you're trying to be free to play, trying to be as efficient as possible with your gems, definitely get that mobile app, play another game in your free time to get that, what they call offer wall gems. Now, let's see what else I got here. See these down here? These are my boosts. I always run the minor boosts. too many times I see people who should know better. I mean, these are people who are like level 40s, level 50s, not even know about these or not think that they're worth it. And I think that's silly, because there comes a point where you just, again, you don't have to worry about gold. And at this point, I'm level 146, but it's been this way for a long time. I almost always have over 1 million gold. So what you're going to want to do is go to the shop. Look at your flash sales. Sometimes you'll see your minor boosts on sale for less money, like 750 gold or something like that, instead of the 10,000 or 7,500 as opposed to the 10,000. Stock up on those when you do see them in your flash. You know, go over down here. You know, get 20, maybe even 50 of them at a time if you have the spare gold, and stock up. As you see here, I have tons of those boosts. I'm getting low on gold potions, but I mean, I got a month of these guys right here. I got 2 months of minor experience tomes because they work every 24 hours. I do use speed kicks too. It kind of seems silly, but you know, it's only 5,000 gold. Who cares? Plus, it's really nice to have, you know, walking a little bit faster in raids. Gets it done just a little bit quicker. Plus, I kind of use it as an alarm. See, sometimes you don't really realize that your boosts are out, but if you use speed kicks and you're walking around and you're raiding, you notice you're slowed down considerably to that normal pace. Then you can look down and be like, oh, hey, shoot, time to update. Time to refresh my boosts. So that's something that is really important. One of the top things I keep seeing over and over and over. People doing that, they really need to start keeping these boosts up. Let's move on to familiars. All right. Move on to familiars. Another question I'm seeing in Kong chat all the time. Before I start this though, let me just say that, you know, I'm by no means like a professional. I do play this all the time. I play this every day, multiple times a day. But I'm proven wrong almost daily on the Kong chat, on the Bit Heroes subreddit. There's a lot of depth to this game, so there might be things that I say during this tutorial that aren't entirely accurate. Please feel free to correct me. I don't want to lead you guys astray, and I definitely want the best for everybody. So that being said, just take all this with a grain of salt. I think in general, when you are dungeoning and raiding, you should persuade all familiars. But, as I mentioned before, if a legendary familiar offers, bribe it. Because if you are following my #1 gem rule, treat 1,600 gems as 0, then you will always have that amount there. And you go ahead and you bribe them. And legendary familiars cost 1,600 gems to bribe. Epics cost 800 gems to bribe. And now I'm mentioning this because there are certain raid familiars that you might want to consider bribing. Everyone always says when you start, go with Borlon as your healer, go with Shramps as your tank. And that is 110% accurate, guys. Definitely want to do that. But a lot of people will say, hey, try to get Squibbo. To get Squibbo, though, you need Squib, who's the epic kind of green alien-looking thing in a purple robe on Raid 1 with Astaroth. It's not too often that you get offers from those guys. If you have the schematic, consider bribing. Personally, I did not. I got to the very end with a 5/5 Borlon and a 5/5 Shramps, and it's doable. So it's not something you have to do. You don't have to feel pressured that you have to do this. You can't win without it. This game's all about grinding, so it's foolish to think that. But if you do want that Squibbo, bribe that Squib. And, you know, that's just one example. There's plenty of epic familiars that if you have the schematic for it and you need them, it might be worth bribing. So as I mentioned, if you're just starting out, get Shramps and get Borlon. Let me pull those up real quick just so that you guys have a nice visual instead of staring at my guild hall. Alright, Borlon and Shramps right here. This is your healer and this is your tank. Now your stats are going to be a little bit different than mine because as a level 146, I have more stats to distribute among my familiars. So now this is another educational topic here. Your familiars, I do see this question all the time, like, how do I level up my familiars? How do I get them stronger? They automatically level up with you. They automatically take a certain percentage of your max stats and then distribute them depending on what type of familiar they are. So legendary, I believe, is 90% of your stats are distributed. Epic is 80, rare is 70. So 70% of my stats, if I got that right, is distributed here to Borlon in this certain manner where he's kind of squishy. He only has 126 health right now, but he's very strong. He has 425 attack with a 10% damage increase. Now, with how Bit Heroes currently is as of right now, and it might change in the future, it might not, healing and damage is essentially the same thing because your heal power is the same as your attack power. So here where Borlon says 10% damage, it's basically also a plus 10% heal. Something to keep in mind, something to be aware of. So to get Borlon, you need Merlon and Bob. You get Merlon, might want to write this down, in Zone 1, Dungeon 3. You get Bob in Zone 1, Dungeon 2. And you're going to use him pretty much all the way to the end if you don't have Squibbo. Shramps. You're going to want him as your tank for sure. You see how meaty he is. He's got that block chance. It's going to be a 20% increased chance to take significantly less damage. To get Shramps, you need Shrump and Gramps. Shrump is in Z1, D2. Gramps is in Z2, D2. So he's the farthest one out. Alright, so that's going to be the best for familiars. That's going to be pretty much all I have for them. Let's move right on to... Let's see. I do have like a gem management section I wanted to get to, but I did bring up, being efficient with them. I do want to mention impulse control is very important here if you want to be successful and efficient as a free-to-play or generally free-to-play character. If you have a lot of money and if you want to just like dish hundreds of dollars into this game or more, then you pretty much don't even have to follow this tutorial because you can get whatever you want. Eventually, you just have to drop tons and tons of money. When you're first starting out, your first purchase, this is pretty much unanimous. Your first purchase should be a large defensive pet egg. Because these guys help you so much. I had a Suds for a while. He was a rare healing pet that was a 20% chance to heal your whole team when you hit an enemy. But now I got lucky. If you've seen my past videos, I got Boyga. He's a shielding pet. He's a 20% chance to shield your team for, that so much per turn when you get hit and when you hit an enemy. So obviously you want those legendaries as much as possible. But the reason we recommend always getting large is that, especially in the beginning, is that you will always get a rare. And greens are almost worthless, guys. I mean, everyone who's serious about this game has at least a rare. So you want to hold off for those large eggs, those large offense accessory boxes as well. You see, every week there's sales where there's like 10% off. So you only have to spend 900 gems as opposed to 1,000. I always wait for those sales. See, I could buy one right now, but I'm trying to keep with my 1600 as 0 gem rule. So I don't have enough gems. And I do have an epic already, so it doesn't matter too much. I'm pretty happy with that traveling chef. I got that 16% dual strike right now. I can get that up to 18. But eventually I'll want to keep going and try to get like a Melvin Champ or any other legendary offense accessory, honestly. I don't care. But yeah, again, I'm sidetracking. When you're brand new, that's what you want. You want a large defense pet egg, either shielding or healing, it doesn't matter, and then go for that large offense accessory box for the same reason being that you will at least get a blue. You're going to want to aim for at least this Dark R flag. This is a great rare accessory for a DPS because it has that dual strike. Dual strike and empower right now is like meta. You need to have that, especially dual strike. It increased proc chances because you're going to hit twice. It doubles your DPS when it is procced. I had Dark Flag for a while, 10% damage. That's decent, but you want to aim for that Dark R Flag, that Traveling Chef, or that Melvin Champ. Although, like I said before, any legendary pets, going to be great in their own right. Now, if you're a tank, if you decide to go tank, first off, you should defeat zones 1 through 5 and get to raid 3 or end game, depending on when you watch this. If you watch this and raid 4 is already out, I assume it's still going to be the same advice. Get to the end of the game first, and then probably spend your, I think it's 200 gems to reformat yourself to get that tank gear, those tank stat distributions. And then still go with a defense pet egg, but go for a defense accessory box. And there's variations. Some people like attack pets for PvP, and that's cool. It's just depends on your gameplay. But this is just what I see more often than not. Let's see what else I have here. I do want to take this time to let you guys know that there is a subreddit on Reddit, of course, called Bit Heroes. It's not entirely active, but it's a pretty good resource to answer any questions. I'm pretty active on it, and you'll just get a lot of questions answered if you don't regularly use PC and you don't really have friends on the Kong chat. The Bit Hero sub is a great place to go ahead and get the answers you need, get the advice that you need. Another thing I should say, I'm saying one thing a lot. One thing that's very important in this game is guilds and friends. It is like one of the most important aspects of this entire game. Friends and guild mates will carry you through dungeons and raids. If you are doing everything right, you're going to be the weakest person all the time in your raids. You're going to be the one that, like, if you die, who cares, because everyone else is miles ahead of you. And that's the reason why in this game it's really important to be social, important to make friends, honestly, to see if you can use them in raids and dungeons. A quick tip that doesn't work all the time is there's a banner up on the top here in this general area that always comes down. Like, see, my buddy NJace is logged in. If you've played, you know that it says that, so-and-so obtained a legendary item. You click it, and then you can see them, and it'll show their level, what they have for runes and enchants. If you like them, throw them a friend request. Give it a shot. 99% of the time, they won't accept you because they won't even know who you are, and I can't blame them for that. I do the same thing. But it's better than just, not even trying. But I would highly, highly recommend getting into playing on PC, getting into one of the rooms on the Bit Heroes Congregate chats, just being active, just being friendly. You'll be able to easily get friends. You can ask for friends, and people will, invite you or have you invite them. It's super easy. Okay. Let's see. Oh, one thing that took me a long time to realize was that in dungeons, you can use your buddies. I was playing with my Borlon and my Shramps on these dungeons for a while before I realized, I hit auto one day, I think it was, and it was like, boom, it suggested friends for me. It suggested to use my strongest friends, and that's very important. So that's something you're going to want to be aware of, so you aren't being silly like me and just... I think it was Zone 3 before I realized I could use friends in dungeons. One thing to keep in mind is that high-level people will kick you if you're not active. This is one of those games where you can't just go in and play once every couple days. If you want to be serious about this game, if you really enjoy it, with friends and guildmates being so important, you have to be active so that they don't kick you. They don't look at your friends list like, look at this here. I have 98 friends. Scroll to the very bottom. And I have one dude for a month because he's my best tank right now. And I got a couple of people that's, you know, I definitely should be kicking. But 99% of my people are on within the day. Because they're active. And they're going to be using you. Let's see. Oh, another thing. Make sure the video ads are on. Go ahead in the settings in general. And just go down through here. There's a lot of cool stuff. Check it out. Make sure that video tab is on in your mobile and in your PC, because that's how you're going to be getting rune fragments, and that's how you will get some free gems. Always want to make sure those are on. I went like a month or two without having those on. I thought it was on. It must have reset, and I was just silly. I didn't even look, and I wasted a lot of potential rune fragments and a lot of potential gems for not having that on. Don't make my mistake, guys, and check that out. Okay. And I already talked about runes, I think. I made a couple of videos now and I didn't like them. So now I can't remember what I had already mentioned. But no, I don't think I did. Anyway, with runes, you're going to want to get rares first, which are your blues. You're going to want to go minors, these ones on the side. Majors, the ones on the top and bottom. And then meta. Meta is not as important, in my opinion. They just offer kind of like random little spiff bonuses, which again, in my opinion, not that great. So get your rares, try to get like item find or XP and put those in. Once you're satisfied, go with your majors. Anyway, so once you have all rares, or if you're satisfied with your distribution here, with what your boosts are, start saving up for your legendaries. Now that I have my 2 item find legendaries, I'm going to be saving for my majors, hopefully get some more empower chance and dual strike. That's something you're definitely going to want to do. Most people are going to recommend that. Some people are saying, hey, you know, my luck's not that great. I'm just going to save for epics. I don't want to waste so many rune fragments on legendaries. But I know this. I say this game's RNG, right? So take the risk, because high risk is high reward here. Or it can be. Let's see. Something to mention is that minor runes give you % bonuses to things like item find, capture rate, XP, and gold find. Major runes give you bonuses to personal stats like dual strike or block or empower. And like I said, metas give you certain battle bonuses like little spiff bonuses, you know, drain 50% SP from an opponent when you kill them, stuff like that. Speaking of capture rate, by the way, some people still don't understand that having increased capture rate does not mean that the chance that they will be persuaded goes up. That is always the same. You can never affect that positively or negatively. What capture rate means is that the chance that familiars will find you cool, will offer, will be higher. So you'll have a slightly higher chance for them to offer. Kind of seems cheap. They probably should reword that. But just so you know, that is how that is. It is not, you know, it's not going to increase your chances of persuasion. That will never change. So in my past videos, I've showed you guys in PvP, you pretty much want to use, like, it doesn't matter too much how many tickets you use. I like to stick to 3. One's probably the best to use, honestly, but I just don't like to spend so much time on it. And this is because you get to have a lot of targets to pick from. I think I've shown in my past videos that one of my strategies is to start from the bottom and just fight someone who has both rares or lower, and you'll almost always win if you have decent familiars. Invasion, you know, it's easy enough. It doesn't really have to go with saying anything. Just use as many badges as you can. Get that over with. It's basically a cosmetic event. In my opinion, kind of boring, but awesome. I mean, I'm glad they do this. And devs, if you're listening, definitely keep it up. I love the cosmetics, but out of everything else, I just feel like it's not very fun. But that's okay. Trials and gauntlets. Every week this alternates. I like gauntlets a lot better, but trials tend to be a little easier. Again, this is my opinion. Trials are basically just extended dungeons, so they're kind of boring. But they're easier because they have shrines. You get to see the bosses you're going to fight, things like that. They have different levels here. Those you're always going to want to use 5 because you have better gold find, better experience, better item find. That's really the most important thing. You get more loot, more points. Always good to use 5 on those. Let's see. I can just go over raid setups real quick. A lot of people will do is have 2 tanks in the front. For a long time, I had my Ilmatic Burst here as my main tank, and I have Odesu as my off tank. But recently, I've tried to do this whole tombstone method, which theoretically will get you farther, will like push you towards that next level, where what you'll do is you put yourself as the second person, like where the off tank would be normally in R3. And this pretty much only pertains to R3 because Woodbeard has that, you know, what's it called? I can't think of the word, but when he attacks, sometimes he'll go for that second person too. So if you're watching this in the future, Raid 4 is going to be different. But anyway, for Raid 3 right now, we have that tombstone method that people are using where they're putting themselves in the off-tank spot so that if they die, it doesn't really matter, you know, because you're the weakest link anyway. And Woodbeard can't cut through to that third person because that tombstone's in the way. So you just have like crazy good DPS. You just go for 4 DPS and a tank. And I've been using that for hard. I can auto hard like no problem right now with 7,200, but I should be able to do heroic anytime now. I pretty much should be able to now, but my tank's not the greatest. Hey, if anyone is better than Ilmatic, feel free to give me an ad. I'd really appreciate it. He's really good, but he just, I don't know, he just doesn't have the set items, so that really makes a big difference. Okay, so don't want to take up too much more of your time. That's everything I wrote down. I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So if I think of anything else, or if you guys can think of anything else, let me know. I might make another video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this was good. I did this all in one take, like all my videos. So, you know, hit me up if you have any questions or concerns. If I got any information wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments because I don't want to lead you guys astray. And like I said, I'm learning every day, just like you guys. I'm learning quite a bit. So have a great day, guys, and I will catch you next time. Good luck.